Hey guys, just wanted to make a little video right in the middle of getting ready to do the upgrades on the cases for the LAN rigs. I didn't get a chance to. I stopped my videos that night because it got late, and I was going to continue the next day, and fired up my normal system that I use just to check my email and all. And I also use this playing on the LAN against the other guys, and sometimes I run the listen servers on here if we're not running dedicated servers for games. But come home the next day from work and booted this sucker up, and it started giving me an error like I had tried to overclock the processor, and it was saying that it had reset the CPU, and I think it was running at only 200 and something megahertz, and this is a 2.6 gigahertz processor. And I never overclock, really, you know. Like I said earlier in these clips, I just don't mess with it, and I've never tried to overclock it. So immediately I said, well, that sounds like a CPU problem or a CMOS problem. Maybe the CMOS battery was dying or something. And it's only about 2 years and 4 months old, and from personal experience, these things last 5 to 10 years usually before the battery's charge goes low enough to start losing your CMOS, your date and your time, and all your settings and stuff. But anyway, over the course of the last 2 or 3 days that this system's been having problems, I've been doing all kinds of things trying to figure it out. I've completely tested my power supply. This is a Antec 550 watt NeoPower 550. At the time, that was enough to run what I wanted to run, and I think it could have even possibly ran 2 video cards for the Crossfire that this board supports. And right now I only have 1 video card in there. It's a Sapphire ATI Radeon 3870. I think it's got 512 megs of GDDR4, I think they call it. These things just, you know, they just upgrade these cards and stuff so fast, it's hard for me to keep up with the graphics processors and the memory amounts and all the different technologies. But this is probably a 2 or 3 year old card, but it served me great, and my next upgrade, this will probably go back to being a LAN system or something, and I'll probably upgrade within the next year. But I'd like to get this problem solved, and pretty much the entire system has been gone through. It was, like I said, it was exhibiting that one problem on boot ups. It wouldn't do it every boot up, but it would say that I tried to overclock, and it was unsuccessful, so that it, you know, it had automatically turned the speed back down, the settings for the processor, and it was running at all the default settings, so I know I didn't make the changes. It's some kind of other error causing it. And so I started checking memory. I started checking the video card. And I've run mem tests on both sticks of RAM. There's only 1 stick in there right now, and it's G-Skill memory. I love those sticks. Got very pretty heat spreaders on them. But they're very affordable and very dependable. People have good luck overclocking them, but like I said, I don't overclock. But I was running 2 sticks in dual channel mode. I had one in this slot here, DIM 1, and then the first orange slot here is DIM 3, so you have to run them like that to do dual channel. And if you wanted to have another set of dual channel, you'd be in like DIM 4 here and then one over here in DIM 2. But just for testing purposes, I've just been putting 1 stick in at a time in the DIM 1 slot, and running mem test. I've went through at least 3 passes on each one, and no memory errors at all. I even went ahead and disassembled everything completely, blew the entire system board out, all the slots for the memory, and cleaned the memory contacts, took the video card out, blew it out really good with compressed air, cleaned the contacts on it, blew out the slots, the PCI slots, the PCI Express slots, reseated all the cards, checked the voltage on the CMOS battery. It was reading, I think, 3.18 volts, and it's supposed to be a 3 volt battery, so in case it's really starting to fall down, you know, close to 2.5 volts or lower, usually you're not going to lose your settings. But I went ahead and took it out, so I had to lose my settings and reset everything. But the battery tested fine. I had 2 brand new ones I could have put in there, but this one was fine, so there was really no reason to change it. Processor looked okay. The heatsink was a little bit dusty in the fins and all, and I blew the heatsink out real good. Used alcohol to remove all the thermal paste from the heatsink in the processor, and put brand new silver thermal paste, kind of like Arctic Silver, but I think it's a generic brand. put that, kind of skim coated it back on the top of the processor and seated all that back down. Pretty much everything you could think of doing. Like I said, I tested the power supply, tested all the voltages coming out of every connector to make sure the 12 volts, the 5 volts, 3 volts, 3.3 volts, 1.3, whatever, all those different voltages, they were all reading, I mean, dead on. Not much variation, weren't fluctuating. Even with a load on, I had some drives hooked up to, you know, to give the power supply a load, and nothing was fluctuating. So, you know, some of the other errors while this problem has been going on was some screen artifacts. When you would boot the system up, you could see, even with just a black screen with white writing, it looked like there were black vertical lines through the text. And then when Windows would try to boot up, there would be vertical artifacts, like vertical lines with colors and stuff all through the Windows logo. And I finally got it to boot up one time, and I thought maybe it was just a bad memory stick because I'd put just one memory stick in. But I started playing a few games, and I was playing Unreal Tournament, and the entire system just stopped. And I got a black screen on the monitor. All the fans in the computer were still running, all the lights were still on, the power supply was still operating, but it's like everything just completely stopped responding. There was no sound coming from the sound card, you know, through the speakers. Keyboard wasn't doing anything. You had no control of the keyboard. You couldn't, like, you know, press your num lock or nothing like that. It wasn't responding. The monitor was showing nothing. It's just completely black. I don't think I got a signal saying that I had lost video input like monitors usually show if the video card's not outputting, so it just went black. I watched my temperatures on the system. It's got built-in monitors for the processor and the motherboard and everything, and the fan speeds, and all the fans are running fine. The one on the video card is automatically controlled by the video card. It spins up faster when you're doing 3D processing, and it's getting warmer, and it kind of idles a little slower. When you first start up, it's actually off, and then it kicks on after you start booting the system. The speed on this fan for the processor, I think, is around 3,300 RPM. Temperature of the processor was starting out around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It wasn't getting over 105. The system board was staying somewhere around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That back fan was working fine. There's a little control. I've got it tucked neatly away right there, and it's got a, I think, a slow, medium, and fast setting, and I keep it on medium most of the time, just kind of, you know, to be an in-between between noise and how much air it's blowing out the back of the case. But so far, those are all the things I've done to try to solve the problem, and this is going to be the first boot up. I'm going to hook it back up in a second and boot it up, and you know, see if I've solved the problem, because like I said, I disassembled the entire system, took all the option cards out, cleaned contacts, blew the entire system out with compressed air, reseated the CPU, new thermal paste and all that, reseating the memory and all, and this is going to be the first fire up after putting the CPU back in with the new thermal paste and the heatsink back on, and reinstalling all the option cards and the memory and everything. But I'm just going to leave one stick of memory in and see how it boots up. Hopefully I'll solve the problem before the LAN party. If not, I'll have to go back to my old reliable rig, the one I was using a couple years ago before I built this one. But anyway, let's see what happens. I'll get it hooked back up and maybe come back and tell you if the results are okay.